Let's go to page 188. This is lesson 4-6. The objective of this lesson is to factor quadratic polynomials. But before we do the factoring, let's go and review a little bit on multiplication. So let's say if you have x plus 2 times x plus 5. Okay, so when you multiply, you have to distribute. So use the Fourier method. So this will equal to x squared plus 5x plus 2x plus 10. Right? You just go and distribute. And notice you're going to have a middle term, like terms over here. So you're going to get x squared plus 7x plus 10. So what you're going to notice is that look at the number, the relationship between this and the number. Notice this came from adding. So if you got 2 plus 5 will give you 7 because you got 2x plus 5x over here. So if you add these two numbers, you get that. And this came from multiplying. So you can see that this came from adding the numbers. And you can see this came from multiplying. Okay? And so if you try a different one, let's say if you have a x plus 2, x plus x minus. Okay, let's try use minus. So by knowing the trick, you can write your answer already. You can see that this is going to be x squared. If you add, this will give you minus 3x. If you multiply, it will give you minus 10. Okay? And if you don't believe that, let's go and try see if it's true. So you multiply, this will give you x squared. Multiply, give you minus 5x. Multiply, give you plus 2x. Multiply, give you minus 10. Right? And again, if you notice, this is this. And when you combine the like terms, this will give you that. Right? See? So that's a shortcut. Right? Again, this came from adding the two numbers. 2 plus negative 5 will give you negative 3, and this came from multiplying. Okay. So now if you're going to do the factoring, it's just going from here to here. So once you know this where this came from, you can go and do backward. Okay. So for example, if you were to factor this, so let's say if you have this and you want to go back. Okay. Well, if you know that this came from adding the two numbers, this came from multiplying the two numbers, then you can go and try it out. Okay. So you know that this is going to get two parentheses, right? Okay. So x squared came from x times x. But to get these two numbers, you know that this came from adding the two numbers. This came from multiplying two numbers. Okay. So let's go and do the adding and multiplying. So you need to add the two numbers to get negative 3. You need to multiply to get negative 10. Okay. So you need to find a combination that will give you that combination. Now, if you try this will give you infinite number of possibilities. So let's go and try this. And again, you can just guess. Basically, just start with 1. So you got 1 comma negative 10. Right? This 1 times negative 10 will give you negative 10. 2 comma negative 5. Right? 2 times negative 5 will give you negative 10. And 2 plus negative 5 will give you negative 3. So this is it. So once you do the correct combination, you put over here. Right? And minus 5. Right? Again. So when you add, right? When you add, you will get that. When you multiply, get that. So basically, you're looking for that combination, and see, and that's what you get, right? Okay. So once you know where these numbers came from, you can just go backward. Okay. Okay. So let's go and go over some examples. So example 1, you want to factor x squared plus 2x minus 15. So again, remember this number came from addition. Okay, so you need to find a combination. So add and multiply, right? So you need to find a number that will add to 2, and multiplication will give you negative 15. Okay, so again, you don't want to try this one because these are infinite number of possibilities. So let's go and try this one. So you start with 1. Again, if you don't know the correct combination off the bat, just start with 1. So just 1 comma negative 15. You have to keep track of positive, negative. So you multiply to get that. Okay, and 2 cannot. So you go 3 comma negative 5. Now when you get over here, you know that this way, when you add, this will give you negative 2. So you have to just switch the sign. So 5, negative 3. Right, 5 times negative 3 give you negative 15. So when you multiply, you get that. When you add, you get that. So this is the correct combination. Okay. And so once you find that, so you undo the first term. X times x give you x squared. And this one, this is the Fourier method, the FOIL. Okay, so this is the f. So undo the f, and this is going to be O and I, so it'll be plus 5, right? Plus 5 minus 3. Right? Again, if you add, you get that. Multiply, you get that. Okay, and that's it. So again, factoring is just undoing the Fourier method. Okay, then let's go to example 2. We have 15t squared minus 16t plus 4. Okay. Now, when there's a number in front, it makes things a little bit more complicated. So the way you're going to do it is, again, you're going to find the addition and multiplication combination. So again, this came from adding. Okay. Now, multiplication, you cannot just put this number over here because there's a number in front now. So basically, actually, this number came from multiply this. But because this is 1, so we just kind of put this number over here. But you have to multiply, actually, the L, you have to multiply this together. Okay? So you have to multiply to get, so again, when there's a number in front, you have to multiply. So the multiplication, the product should be 60. Okay? So that's the number you need to get. Okay, so now when you try your number, you start with 1 comma 60, right? But notice if you both positive, you're not going to be able to get negative. So in this case, you have no problem because it's going to be positive and negative. But this one, both have same sign. So to get the negative, you have to try negative 1, negative 60. Okay, and then you try negative 2, negative 30. Again, just go down the list. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so negative 3, negative 20, negative 4, negative 15, negative 5, negative 12, negative 6, negative 10, and that's it, right? So you can just go down the list and you find the correct combination. So negative 6 times negative 10 give you 60. Negative 6 plus negative 10 give you negative 16. Okay? So now here comes the more complicated part. Now you have to break down, you have to undo the f, right? The first term. Again, there are many different possibilities. So you want to start with the lowest and the highest. So start with lowest and the highest. And to see, this is the inside part, right? So you undo the f, and this is the inside part, and that is the outside part. So you have to figure out which one of these will match. So 15 times something equal to 6. No, cannot. 15 times something equal to 10. So again, it's not going to work. So 15 is not going to work. So you start with the lowest and the highest. Then if it doesn't work, you go to the next one. Okay, so 2 cannot. So it would be 3t and 5t. Okay, so again, 15 is too high. It's not going to match any of these. Now over here, now so now you have to figure out, okay, which one would be the inside? Well, this has to be inside, right? Because 5 times something is not going to give you 6, right? So you have to be this one here. So 5 times negative 2. So that's your inside. Negative 2 times 5. So you have to multiply to get that. So negative 2 times 5 will give you negative 10. And so this would be the outside. So 3 times something equal to negative 6 would be negative 2. Okay? So again, here's your inside. Okay, 5 times negative 2 give you negative 10. The outside, negative 2 times 3 give you negative 6. Okay? And once you do that, then that's it. And you can check your L, right? So that's the F, O, I, the L. Negative 2 times negative 2 give you positive 4. So it checks, right? Again, negative 2 times negative 2 give you 4. Okay? So do not put these two numbers in here now. Like this over here. This one, when there's no number in front, you can just put whatever you put in, whatever you have just put in here. But when there's a number in front, you have to do the extra steps. Okay, you have to figure your O and I and make everything match. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, example 3. You want to factor 3 minus 2z minus z squared. So first thing you need to do is arrange this in order. So it will be negative z squared minus 2z plus 3. Okay, the next thing is there's a negative in front. So when there's a negative in front, you don't want to do the factoring right away. Okay, so you want to go and factor the negative. So factor the negative 1, you're going to get z squared plus 2z minus 3. Okay, so you can factor the negative 1. So now you can go and do the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, so master product. Okay. So the one you need to add, the sum would be the 2, and the product would be negative 3. Okay, so you can start with 1 comma negative 3, And this will give you -2, so you have to switch the sign. So it would be 3, comma, -1. And this would be a correct combination. Okay, so this one would be z and a z. Now, if there's no number, you can just put the numbers in here, right? So it would be +3, -1. Okay. But normally, you don't want to have a negative in front. If you have this, that's fine. But normally, you want to simplify it. So you can multiply this in here. So if you were to multiply this, this will give you -z, and this will give you +1. So negative is used to switch the subtraction. Now, since you put a z in the back, you can put a z in the back over here to make it symmetrical. Okay, and so that would be your answer. So again, negative is used to switch the subtraction. Addition, you can switch without doing anything to it because addition is commutative, right? Okay, example 4. Okay, you want to factor x squared plus 4x minus 3. Okay, so you can go to step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? So you can make sure every time you go through the steps, okay? And this is going to be, there would be no, so it would be step 4, okay? Okay, so you have to add, multiply, right? Okay, so 4, -3, okay? So again, you have to multiply to get that, you have to add to get that. Okay, so let's start with 1, comma, -3. And then from there, you're going to get 2, cannot be, so it'll be 3, comma, -1. Well, now you have a problem because so you try all the possibility, but none of it's going to match. So in this case, this would be not factorable, okay? So you can just write prime. Okay, so it's not factorable. Okay, you can write prime or it's not factorable. Normal time you can just write not factorable, just prime. Either way, okay. Okay, let's go to example 5. Okay, example 5, you want to factor 3 x to the 6 minus 48 x squared. You want to factor it completely. So you can remember every problem, go through the list. So step 1, you have to do the common factor. So 3 and 46, you can factor out of 3. So you got x6 minus 16 x squared. And now once you're done with the number, you can factor out the alphabet. So factor out x squared. So you got x to the 4 minus 16. Okay, so step 1, you're going to get 3x squared times x to the 4 minus 16. Okay, so that's your step 1. Okay, now once you're done step 1, you go to step 2. Now you got 2 terms, right? 2 terms, you have to do the conjugate, right? Difference of square into conjugate. Okay, and always do the plus first. Okay, so to get x to the 4, you need to get x squared times x squared, right? X squared times x squared give you x to the 4. Plus times minus give you minus, and 4 times 4 give you 16. Okay, but whenever you have a square, you have to keep checking. Okay, so this is done already. Okay, but this one, notice this is what? This is this again, right? Difference of squares. You have the square minus square. Okay, now this one is done. You cannot do any more with this. Okay, leave this alone. So you can do this again. So this is from your step 2a, and this one you can do it one more time, right? Okay, so you can repeat second because these have a square minus square. Okay, so over here you're going to get x times x. Right? X times x give you x squared. Plus times minus give you minus, and you get 2 times 2 give you 4. Okay, and that's it. So again, every point you go through the list. Okay, go through each step. Okay, let's go to example 6. Okay, so this one you're looking for Tcf and Lcm. Okay, so you have the 12p3 q plus 12p squared q squared plus 3p q cubed. Okay, and you have the 12p to the 4 minus 6p to the 3 q minus 6 p squared q squared. Okay, so just make sure you copy your problem correctly. Okay, so to find the Tcf and Lcm, first let's go and factor these. Okay, so this 12, 12, and 3, so we can factor the 3. So it'd be 4p3q plus 4p squared q squared plus pq3. Okay, and after that we can factor the p. So you got p, p2, p3. So it'd be p. So it'd be 4p squared q plus 4p q squared plus q to the 3. Then we can factor the q. So it becomes 4p squared plus 4p plus q squared. Okay. Okay, so from your step 1, this would be 3pq times 4p squared plus 4p plus q squared. Okay, so then from your q. Okay, and then from here, then again, then you go to step 2, right? Every time you go through the checklist, right? So you're done with step 1, you go to step 2. 3 terms, you check for the perfect square. So this is a perfect square. So you get 2p plus q, right? So again, you square this, you get that. Square this, you get that. Multiply all this to get the middle. Okay, so now let's go and do the other one, okay? So this is equal to that. So this one you can factor out the 6. So it'd be 2p4 minus p3q minus p squared q squared. And after that you can do the alphabet, so factor out the p squared. So you got 2p squared minus pq minus q squared. Okay. Okay. And after that, so this is, so your step 1 is 6p squared times 2p squared minus pq minus q squared. Okay. So that's your step 1. Okay, and so over here, this is step 2b, but over here, this step 1, step 2, step 3 not going to work. So you have to do the step 4. Okay, so you need to get -1 and -2. So you're going to do 1 comma -2, and that's it. Okay. So you're going to get p and 2p. So this would be the inside. Right, so 2 times -1, 2 times -1 would give you -2, and this would be +1. 1 times 1 would give you 1. Right, so this is the outside. So inside and outside. Okay, now there's a q in the back, so you have to put a q in the back. So 1q means just q, right? So normally you don't write 1 as your coefficient. Okay, so once you're done with all the factoring, now your GCF, you take the lowest, okay? So 3 and 6. The common factor would be 3. So do the number, you go to alphabet. Okay, alphabet, the lowest one is P. Then you go to Q, there's no Q, so that's the lowest one. And you go to the group. Okay, so again, you take the lowest one, so it'd be 2P plus Q. Okay, this one, so you got P minus Q, and you got none over here, so you take the none. Again, GCF, you take the lowest one. Okay, and you got a square, you got a single power, 1 power, 2 power, so you take the 1 power. Okay, so that's your GCF. Again, GCF, you take the lower one. Now the LCM, you take the higher one. Okay, so the number 3 and 6, the LCM, the higher one would be 6. The alphabet, P and P squared, so you have to be P squared. The Q, you got Q and no Q, so you need to have a Q. Okay, and this one you got P minus Q, you got none, so you can take the higher one. Okay, and you got 2P plus Q squared, and you got 2P plus Q, so you got 2P plus Q squared. Okay, so GCF, you take the lower of the 2. Okay, LCM, you take the higher one of the 2. And that's it for part A, part B.